The first Jedi Purge took place sometime after the Battle of Rakata Prime, also known as Leon, after the end of the Jedi Civil War, from about approximately lasting from 3,954 BBY to 3,951 BBY. The Purge saw the near Jedi Order being disappeared from the galaxy, and the Order publicly disbanded. Most of the survivors were slain by the Sith. During the Sith Civil War, around 3,954 BBY, Darth Traiana, also known as Kreia from Knights of the Old Republic 2, Darth Nullius, and Darth Sion took command of the remnants of the Sith Empire of Reverends, and after Kreia was exiled, Sion utilized the Sith assassins to assassinate Jedis, while Nullius would consume entire lives of planet, would consume plants full of life and Jedi trying to search for them. Nullius' final attack was on Mariluka colony Qatar. Nearly all the remaining 100 Jedi were killed during a conclave meeting to discuss about this issue that was being held on the planet. The Purge was finally brought to an end by the Jedi Exile, who not only trained a new generation of Jedi, but also killed all three leaders of the Trimective. And after the conclusion of the Purge, the Jedi who were trained by the Exile proved essential to the New Order's revival. And so let's get down to it. This was the first Jedi Purge, as kind of obvious by now. And it wasn't really as documented as much in the Star Wars Expanded Universe. It was at some extent, but not really shown how it was shown. Like, how did the organization form? How did they take control? We just are told about this. We're not really shown it at times. Like, we see the exile of Darth Traiana, but we're not really shown how they took control of an entire civil war and brought it into their favor. But it was expressed that after the end of the Jedi Civil War, there was barely 100 Jedi remaining, and a lot of Jedi were killed in that war, and they would later be hunted down by Sith in the first Purge. Here's what always bugged me a bit, like how Atris, Master Vrook, Zeskiel, and Tar, I think. I kind of forgot the other guy's name. Always kept saying that the Sith were cowards attacking from the shadows to kill the Jedi instead of facing them head on. I was thinking, like, that's kind of arrogant. Like, if I was the enemy, I would do the same thing. I would attack from the shadows and retreat. Let's hit and run. It's a classical technique to take out the enemy and weaken them and bring weakness to them. And to basically say, "Oh, these Sith are cowards. They don't face like a man," is kind of pompous and really arrogant. And that's where I think the Jedi start to crumble. Like after the Civil War, the arrogance started to take over like a disease, and then they became the very thing they hated, as much as they don't want to admit to that. But the devastation of Qatar, wow. I looked that up and I was shocked. Like apparently Darth Nullius just speaking apparently brung about a dark seed of darkness into the planet of Qatar and wiped out everybody. And I was like, yeah, this guy's effed up. And I explained this in my Darth Nullius video, which you can check out. This began after the Battle of Malachor 5, after the Mandalorian Wars. The planet was destroyed, ravaged by the mass shadow generators, and that started a wound in the Force that quickly was growing as time went on, especially the Civil War happening. The Exile, well, as her name is, was exiled from the Jedi Order, having returned from the Mandalorian Wars. Kind of shocking to a lot of people at that time, since a lot of the Jedi went with Revan. None felt like going back, since they knew they would be punished for, saving the Republic as their job was given. But ultimately, like, there were a series of battles, like numerous Jedi were slain, like Master Vandar, who, like I said in a previous video, I thought was Yoda, but turned out it was a completely different Yoda species. They never really explained what species it was called. They just referred to it as Yoda's species. And Atris survived. Bodor survived if you trained him as a Jedi. Mikhail survived, Mira survived, Bastos survived, Reverend survived, since he wasn't there at the time. Anton Rad survived, you trained him as well. Vizramar survived. And Jolie Bindo, the companion you had in Star Wars The Old Republic 1, they never really explained what happened to him. He just sort of went off the grid afterwards. So they say he might have died, but at the times he didn't. So there's no answer on him, what happened to him after the purge happened. But like I said, several key battles took place during this crusade, like the incident on Qatar, the skirmish at Paragus 2, Battle Corridor, mission to Nar Shaddaa, attack on the Ebon Hawk, the Alderaan Civil War start during this purge, the duel at Korriban Academy, attack on the Telosin Academy, the Battle of Telos 4, and lastly the Battle of Malachor 5. Where Malachor 5 was finally destroyed with the reactivation of the mass shadow generators. And like I said, the Jedi Exile wiped out the remaining Sith Lords and pretty much saved the Jedi Order, despite the fact that they exiled her. So give her some fucking courtesy. Too bad the Council were killed, so they can't reward her for her actions. Like, yeah, you banished her. What of it? And here's the thing: in the expanded universe, it's shown as in the future, later on down the road. They don't really acknowledge the Jedi exile. They try to make it look like she didn't save the orders, like that Atris did it, or uh, the handmistress that also could become a Jedi did it, or Vizramar did it. They never acknowledged that the exile did it, and I actually had a theory. What, why would they want to talk about a Jedi they kicked out coming back and saving their asses? Let's be honest. Do you really think the Jedi are going to admit, oh, we kicked this Jedi out, but she came back and saved us? Okay, that might look bad on our resume. Like, this is where I started to think corruption started playing in. Like, this is the Order's downfall. Like, the first Jedi Purge was trying to wipe out the Jedi. And I think this is a cycle that goes on. Like, as the Jedi Order grew bigger and bigger and bigger, it started to contract. It starts to contract, so does the Sith. And the first Purge was trying to balance that out unknowingly by the Force. And that kind of didn't work, as the teachings of the Exile kind of, and Atris was still alive, and a lot of the old masters were still alive. So I think the corruption was stopped. It was still happening. It was just halted for a bit, but it didn't ultimately stop. So, and then it took a second purge for them to rebuild the Order into a different image and end all the corruption that was happening in it. But the Republic was horribly crippled by this. It set things back again, and I don't know. They never really explained in Star Wars The Old Republic MMO. They never talk about this incident. Like, you see the exile once in the game. I haven't played it in a while, so I can't really remember when. I think it was late in the game during Flashpoint. But you only see her once, a Force ghost of her, so confirming, yes, she's dead. And like this does take place 300 years after Knights of the Old Republic 2, but they never really delve into what happened that day. Like, what happened during this chaotic era, during these last 3 years. Like, they never really explained that. Like, that always bugged me a bit. Like, hey, that was an important moment for the Jedi. You don't want to admit that you kicked someone out and they came back and saved you, despite your cruelty? Like, is that it? Because that's kind of petty and kind of egotistical. So, like, yeah, I don't know how. I don't know why they never expressed this in Star Wars: The Old Republic, like they should have. Like, and quite honestly, I would have been loving to know, was Darth Nullius a pawn in the Sith Emperor's game in the Old Republic? I would have loved to know that. They just never delved into it. Like, they don't like ever talk about it. Like, this never happened. Wipe this off to the side. Okay, what happened between them? Nothing? Oh, okay. We lived in peace. We're kind of idiots like that. Yeah. Well, everyone, this was Neo Reality Entertainment. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and donate, and stay tuned for more.